The universe had been quiet for 40,000 years. No human voice had traveled through the stars. No human ship had crossed the void between worlds. The species that once spread across 100 planets had simply vanished, and the galaxy had moved on without them. Kel sat alone in the communications room of Velthan Prime, a massive space station that floated at the edge of known space. His job was simple, but boring. He listened to signals from distant stars, recorded them, and sent reports to his superiors. Most nights, he heard nothing but static and the natural sounds of dying stars. But tonight was different. A green light blinked on his console. Kel leaned forward and adjusted his equipment. The signal was weak, barely more than a whisper against the background noise of the cosmos. But it was there. It was real, and it was coming from the dead zone. The dead zone was a region of space that no ship had entered in thousands of years. Long ago, it had been home to the most feared species in galactic history, the humans. Now it was nothing but empty space and forgotten worlds. Kel ran the signal through his translation software. The computer worked for several minutes, struggling with an encryption pattern that had not been used in millennia. Finally, words appeared on his screen. Words in an ancient human language. "This is Arc Vessel Sunlight. Humanity survives. We are returning home." Kel's hands began to shake. He read the message again and again, hoping he had made a mistake. But the words remained the same. Humanity survives. We are returning home. He reached for his communication device and called his commander. Thora arrived within minutes. She was a tall woman, with gray skin and eyes that had seen too many years of service. She looked at the message on Kel's screen and said nothing for a long time. "It must be a ghost," she finally said. "An echo from the old times. Signals can bounce around space for thousands of years." "I thought so too," Kel replied. "But look at the timestamp. The signal was generated less than 6 hours ago." Thora's face went pale. She grabbed the console and pulled up more data. The signal's origin point was deep within the dead zone, near a dying red star that had no name on modern maps. The transmission strength suggested a ship of enormous size, something that should not exist. "Send this to the Council," Thora ordered. "Priority Alpha." Kel hesitated. "Commander, are you sure? The Council will panic. The whole galaxy will panic." "They should panic," Thora said quietly. "I studied history at the Academy. I know what humans were capable of. If even one of them survived, we have a problem. If millions survived..." She did not finish the sentence. Within hours, the message reached the Galactic Council on the capital world. 12 elder species had formed the council after the great wars that nearly destroyed civilization. They had ruled the galaxy in peace for thousands of years. They had built great cities, developed wonderful technology, and created a society where war was almost unknown. But they had also done something else, something they never spoke about in public. They had let humanity die. Speaker Vor called an emergency meeting. He was the leader of the council, a being of great age and wisdom. But as he read the human message, he felt something he had not felt in centuries. "Fear. This cannot be real," said one council member. "The humans destroyed themselves. We watched their worlds burn." "We watched from a safe distance," said another member, his voice heavy with guilt. "We could have helped them. We chose not to. They were too dangerous," Vor said firmly. "The humans were building weapons that could destroy entire star systems. They were fighting each other with such fury that they threatened all life in the galaxy." "Did we?" asked a quiet voice from the corner of the room. Everyone turned to look at Elder Rin. He was the oldest member of the council, keeper of the ancient archives. His species had been the first to achieve space travel, millions of years before any other. He remembered things that others had forgotten. "I have read the old records," Rin continued. "The complete records, not the edited versions we teach in schools. The humans asked us for help. They begged us. Their planet was dying. Their colonies were under attack, and they had nowhere else to turn. We refused. Some of us even helped their enemies. That was 40,000 years ago, Vor snapped. Ancient history. It does not matter now. It matters if they remember. Rin said simply. The room fell silent. Every council member understood what those words meant. Humans had many qualities that made other species nervous. They were strong, clever, and adaptable. They could survive in environments that would kill most life forms. They bred quickly and learned even faster, but their most dangerous quality was their memory. Humans never forgot. They passed stories from generation to generation, keeping alive events that happened thousands of years in the past. They remembered their heroes and their villains. They remembered their friends and their enemies. And if they had survived for 40,000 years, sleeping in the dark between stars, they had plenty of time to remember exactly who had abandoned them. We must send a fleet, Vor declared. Find the source of this signal. If humans have truly survived, we need to know their numbers, their capabilities, their intentions. And if they are hostile? Someone asked. Vor stood up from his chair. His eyes were cold and hard. Then we finish what should have been finished 40,000 years ago. We cannot allow humanity to return. The galaxy has finally found peace. We will not let one species destroy everything we have built. The governed. The council voted. The decision was unanimous. A fleet of 300 warships would travel to the dead zone. Their mission was simple. Find the humans and make sure they never reached civilized space. Far away, in the darkness of the dead zone, the Ark vessel Sunlight continued its slow journey through the void. Its signal repeated every hour, a simple message that echoed across light years. Humanity survives. We are returning home. And in the frozen chambers deep within the ship, 2 million humans continued to sleep, dreaming of a world they had not seen in 40,000 years. Dreaming of home. Dreaming of everything they had lost. Soon, they would wake up, and the galaxy would learn what it truly meant to fear. Elder Rin walked through the dark hallways beneath the council building. These tunnels had not been opened in thousands of years. Dust covered the floors, and strange symbols decorated the walls. Most council members did not even know this place existed. At the end of the longest hallway stood a massive door made of black metal. Rin placed his hand on the scanner and spoke the ancient password that had been passed down through his family for generations. The door groaned and slowly opened, revealing a room filled with old machines and glowing data crystals. This was the Forbidden Archive, the true history of the galaxy, hidden from public view. Rin had spent his entire life protecting these secrets. He had believed, like his father and grandfather before him, that some truths were too dangerous to share. But now, with humanity's return, the council needed to understand exactly what they were facing. He activated the archive's main computer and began searching through records that were 40,000 years old. The first files showed images of human worlds before the Great War. Beautiful cities stretched across green continents. Ships of elegant design traveled between stars. Children played in parks under blue skies. The humans had built a civilization of remarkable beauty and power. But then the images changed. The war had started over something small. A disagreement between two human factions about how to use a new technology. Both sides believed they were right. Both sides refused to back down. And slowly, the disagreement grew into something terrible. Rin watched recordings of human generals arguing in great halls. He saw politicians making speeches filled with anger and hate. He witnessed the first battles. Small conflicts that killed only thousands. Then the larger battles that killed millions. And finally, the terrible weapons that killed billions. The humans had created things that should never exist. Bombs that could crack a planet in half. Viruses that could rewrite the genetic code of entire populations. Machines that could think faster than any living brain and fight without mercy or fear. But what disturbed Rin most were the messages from human leaders to the Galactic Council. "We are destroying ourselves," wrote a human president named Mira. "Our weapons are too powerful. Our hate is too strong. Please, we are begging you, help us find peace before it is too late." The council had received this message. They had discussed it in secret meetings, and they had decided to do nothing. "Let them fight," one ancient council member had said. "When they are finished killing each other, the galaxy will be safe." Some species had gone even further. Rin found records of weapon shipments sent to human rebels. Communication logs showed council members sharing military secrets with human enemies. One document revealed that 3 species had formed a secret alliance to ensure that humans would never survive their civil war. The galaxy had not simply watched humanity die. They had helped make it happen. Rin found the final transmission from Earth. It was sent by a human general named Tay, just hours before the planet's surface was destroyed. General Tay stood on the bridge of a massive ship. Behind him, dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. Through the windows, the burning Earth was visible, its surface covered in fire and smoke. "This is General Tay of the Human Defense Force," he said. His voice was calm, despite everything happening around him. "Our world is lost. Our colonies are falling one by one. We asked the galaxy for help. They refused. Some of them betrayed us." He paused and looked directly into the camera. "But we will not die here. Not all of us. The Ark vessels are launching now. They carry 2 million of our people in frozen sleep. They will hide in the darkness between stars, in places where no one will find them. They will sleep until the galaxy forgets we ever existed." Tay smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "And then they will wake up. They will return to Earth. They will rebuild everything we lost. And they will remember. They will remember every species that could have saved us and chose not to. They will remember every betrayal, every lie, every celebration of our deaths." The transmission began to break up as explosions shook the ship. "We are humanity," Tay said. "We do not forget. We do not forgive. And we do not die." Quietly, the recording ended. Rin sat in silence for a long time. He had known the basic history, but seeing it like this, hearing the words of a dying man, made everything feel different. The humans had been abandoned, betrayed, left to burn while the galaxy watched and did nothing. And now they were coming back. He gathered the most important files and returned to the council chamber. The other members were waiting, their faces showing various degrees of fear and anger. "What did you find?" Speaker 4 demanded. Rin placed the data crystals on the table. "Everything. The complete history of humanity's fall, including our role in it." "Also, our role?" Vor's eyes narrowed. "We did nothing wrong. We simply chose not to interfere in a human conflict. We did much more than that," Rin said quietly. He activated the crystals and let the council see the truth. For hours, they watched the recordings. They read the messages. They saw the evidence of their ancestors' crimes. Some council members wept. Others sat in shocked silence. A few tried to argue that the records were fake, but even they eventually fell quiet. When the last file finished playing, Vor spoke. "This changes nothing. What happened 40,000 years ago cannot be undone. Our only concern now is survival. The human fleet must be destroyed before it reaches populated space." "And if we fail?" Rin asked. "Their technology was advanced before the war. They have had 40,000 years to improve it. Our fleet may not be strong enough. Then we will build more ships," Vor said coldly. "We will unite every species in the galaxy against this threat. Humanity was dangerous once. They will not get a second chance to prove it." Rin looked at the frozen image of General Tay on the screen. The human's eyes seemed to stare back at him, filled with a promise that had waited 40,000 years to be kept. "I think," Rin said softly, "that they already have." The cold was the first thing Hana felt. A deep, terrible cold that seemed to reach into her bones and freeze her blood. Then came the light, soft and blue, filling her vision as her eyes slowly opened. She tried to move, but her body would not respond. 40,000 years of sleep had left her muscles weak and her mind foggy. She could hear sounds around her, machines beeping and fluid draining. But everything seemed far away, like a dream she could not quite escape. A voice spoke in the darkness. It was calm and gentle, like a mother speaking to a child. "Commander Hana, revival complete. Please remain still. Your body needs time to adjust." The voice belonged to Mother, the artificial intelligence that controlled the Ark vessel Sunlight. Mother had been awake for the entire journey, watching over 2 million sleeping humans while the universe changed around them. "How long?" Hana managed to whisper. Her throat was dry, and her voice sounded strange to her own ears. "You have slept for 40,012 years, Mother replied. "Current galactic date is 52,417. Earth's coordinates remain unchanged. We are approximately 3 weeks from home. 40,000 years." Hana let the number sink into her mind. Everyone she had known before the sleep was dead. Every friend, every family member, every person she had ever loved. They were all gone, turned to dust thousands of years ago. But she had survived. And somewhere on this ship, 2 million other humans had survived with her. Slowly, feeling returned to her arms and legs, she pulled herself out of the revival pod and stood on shaking legs. The room around her was filled with thousands of similar pods, each one containing a sleeping human. Lights blinked on the pods, showing that the occupants were healthy, waiting for their turn to wake. Hana walked through the rows of pods, her bare feet cold against the metal floor. She recognized some of the faces: scientists, engineers, soldiers, teachers, doctors, artists, the best of humanity, chosen to survive the end of their world. She found Sue in the command section, already awake and standing at a computer terminal. He had been her second in command before the sleep, a brilliant tactician with a calm mind and steady hands. Now his face showed the same shock and confusion that Hana felt. "Commander," he said, saluting weakly. "I was trying to access the navigation systems. Mother says we drifted off course during the sleep, but we can still reach Earth. What else has Mother told you?" Sue hesitated. "Perhaps you should see for yourself." They made their way to the bridge, a massive room at the center of the ship. Giant screens covered the walls, showing views of the stars outside. In the middle of the room sat the main command chair, covered in dust but still functional. Hana sat down and activated the ship's information systems. "Mother, show me what happened while we slept. Show me everything." The screens came to life with images and text. Mother had not been idle during the long journey. She had intercepted communications from across the galaxy, monitored news broadcasts, and compiled a complete history of the past 40,000 years. What Hana saw made her feel sick. The galaxy had not mourned humanity's loss. They had celebrated it. Every species that had refused to help during the war had declared a holiday called Liberation Day. They taught their children that humans were monsters, dangerous creatures who had threatened all life in the universe. Hana watched recordings of alien politicians giving speeches about the human plague that had finally been cleansed from the stars. She saw images of statues built to celebrate humanity's extinction. She read textbooks that described humans as violent, primitive, and thankfully extinct. "They forgot us," Sue said quietly. "They forgot everything good we ever did. The technology we shared, the worlds we helped build, the lives we saved." "They did not forget," Hana replied, her voice hard. "They chose to remember us as villains. It is easier to celebrate our deaths if they pretend we deserve to die. She continued searching through the archives. Mother had found something else. Records from the Galactic Council itself, obtained through intercepted communications over thousands of years. These records showed the truth that the galaxy had tried to hide. 3 species had secretly helped humanity's enemies during the Civil War. The Council had voted to deny all human requests for aid. Some leaders had openly hoped that humans would destroy themselves completely, solving the human problem forever. Hana stared at the evidence of betrayal. Her hands gripped the arms of her chair so tightly that her knuckles turned white. "Commander," Mother said gently, "I must inform you that I sent the signal 3 days ago. The galaxy knows we are coming. Our sensors have detected a large fleet moving toward our position. 300 warships. They will arrive in approximately 6 days. They are coming to destroy us," Sue said. "Yes," Mother confirmed. "Communications indicate that the Galactic Council has ordered our extermination. They do not want humanity to return." Hana stood up and walked to the main window. Outside, the stars sparkled in the eternal darkness. Somewhere out there, Earth waited for them. Home, the place where humanity had been born, lived, and nearly died. "Wake everyone," she ordered. "All 2 million. Begin revival procedures immediately. Commander, full revival will take several days. We may not be ready before the enemy fleet arrives. Then we will work faster." Hana turned to face the screens, showing the approaching warships. "They think they are coming to finish us off. They think we are weak, broken survivors of a dead civilization." She smiled, and there was something fierce in her eyes. "Wake the engineers. Wake the scientists. Wake the soldiers. Show them everything we have learned. And then, prepare the old weapons." Sue looked at her with concern. "Commander, if we use those weapons, we become exactly what they always said we were. Monsters." Hana shook her head. "I did not say we would use them. I said prepare them. Let the galaxy see what we can do. Let them understand what they are facing. And then we will decide what kind of species we want to be." The revival process began. Across the ship, pods opened, and humans woke from their long sleep. They were confused, frightened, and weak. But they were alive, and they were going home. Admiral Bren stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars blur past as his fleet traveled through hyperspace. 300 warships followed behind him, the largest military force assembled in thousands of years. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. He had been chosen for this mission because he was known as a careful commander. He did not take unnecessary risks. He studied his enemies before he fought them. And he always won. But this mission made him nervous. The briefing files from the Council contained information that kept him awake at night. Humans had been the most dangerous species in galactic history. Before their extinction, they had developed weapons that made current technology look like children's toys. They had fought wars of such terrible violence that entire star systems had been destroyed. And now, they were back. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we are approaching the target coordinates, dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds. Bren straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. "All ships to battle positions. Weapons charged and ready. Remember, we do not know what we are facing. Be prepared for anything." The fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 300 ships spread across thousands of kilometers of space, their weapons glowing with energy. And there, in the center of their formation, was the Ark vessel Sunlight. Bren had seen large ships before. His own flagship was over 5 kilometers long, the biggest vessel in the Council fleet. But the Sunlight was something else entirely. The human ship stretched nearly 40 kilometers from end to end. Its hull was covered in ancient armor that still showed the scars of battles fought thousands of years ago. Strange symbols decorated its surface, words in a language no one had spoken in millennia. But the sunlight was not alone. Around the massive arc, dozens of smaller ships floated in defensive positions. They were old, covered in dust and ice, but their engines burned with fresh power. Somehow, the humans had reactivated warships that had been dead for 40,000 years. "Admiral," the sensor officer said, his voice shaking, "I am reading energy signatures from the human ships. They are impossible. Power levels we have never seen before." Bren gripped his command chair. "How many ships do they have?" 47 combat vessels around the main arc. "But sir, each one of those ships is generating more power than our entire fleet combined." Silence fell across the bridge. Every officer understood what those numbers meant. This was not going to be a simple extermination. This was going to be a fight for survival. "Open a channel," Bren ordered. "Broadcast on all frequencies. Let us see if they are willing to talk." Before he could speak, the main screen flickered and changed. A human woman appeared, standing on a bridge filled with activity. She wore a simple uniform, dark blue with silver markings. Her black hair was cut short, and her eyes were deep brown, filled with an intelligence that seemed to look right through the screen. "I am Commander Hana of the Ark vessel Sunlight," she said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "You must be the fleet sent to destroy us." Bren cleared his throat. "I am Admiral Bren, Commander of the Galactic Council Defense Force. You are ordered to surrender your vessels and submit to Council authority. If you resist, you will be destroyed." Hana smiled slightly. "That is an interesting threat, Admiral. But before you make demands, perhaps you should understand your situation." She pressed a button on her console. Across Bren's entire fleet, every weapon system suddenly went dark. Lights flickered. Engines sputtered. 300 warships, the most powerful force in the galaxy, became helpless in an instant. "What did you do?" Bren demanded. "We disabled your weapons," Hana replied simply. "Your shields as well. Your engines are still working, so you can leave whenever you want, but you cannot fight." Bren felt cold sweat running down his back. "That is impossible. Our systems are protected by the most advanced security in the galaxy. Your security was designed to stop threats you understand. We are something else." Hana's expression grew serious. 40,000 years ago, our species faced extinction. We called out to every civilization in the galaxy for help. We begged. We pleaded. We offered everything we had. The screen changed to show old recordings. Council meetings where humans were laughed at. Weapons being delivered to human enemies. Celebrations when human colonies fell. The evidence of betrayal played across every screen in the Council fleet. "You watched us die," Hana continued. "Some of you helped make it happen. And when it was over, you celebrated. You taught your children that we were monsters. You erased our history and replaced it with lies." Admiral Bren had nothing to say. The evidence was clear. The guilt was real. "We did not come here for revenge," Hana said. "If we wanted revenge, your fleet would already be debris. We came here to go home, to rebuild our world, to give our children a future." She leaned forward, and her eyes seemed to burn with 40,000 years of waiting. "But we also came here to deliver a message. A message to every species in the galaxy. A message to every leader who celebrated our deaths. A message to every teacher who called us monsters." The screens showed the sunlight powering up systems that Bren's sensors could not identify. Energy readings climbed higher and higher, reaching levels that should not be possible. The ancient warships around the Ark glowed with power that made the stars look dim. 40,000 years ago, you thought us dangerous. You were right, but you made a mistake. You thought death was the worst thing we could do to you." Hana stood tall on her bridge, surrounded by officers who had slept through millennia and woken up to find their species hated and forgotten. "We are humanity. We remember every betrayal. We remember every lie. We remember everything." She paused, letting her words sink in. "You will not be punished today. You will go home. You will tell your leaders what you saw here, and you will spend the rest of your lives wondering what we will do next. The transmission ended. The human fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving 300 disabled warships floating in the darkness. Admiral Bren sat in his command chair for a long time, staring at the empty space where the humans had been. His ships slowly came back online, systems rebooting one by one, but he knew the truth. The Council fleet had not been spared because the humans were merciful. They had been spared because the humans wanted witnesses. They wanted someone to tell the galaxy that humanity was back and that they remembered everything. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. The Council fleet had been defeated without a single shot being fired. 300 warships had been disabled by technology so advanced that no one could explain how it worked. And the humans were heading for Earth. Panic gripped 1,000 worlds. Species that had never known war began building weapons. Governments that had been peaceful for centuries declared military emergencies. Everyone expected the humans to attack. Everyone waited for the revenge that was surely coming. But weeks passed, and no attacks came. The human fleet reached Earth and stopped. The planet was a ruin, its surface scorched and dead from the ancient war. No life had existed there for 40,000 years. Yet the humans did not turn away in despair. Instead, they began to work. Construction drones launched from the sunlight and descended to the planet's surface. Atmospheric processors activated, pumping clean air into the poisoned sky. Ships landed carrying seeds, soil, water purifiers, and building materials. The humans were not preparing for war. They were preparing to rebuild. Elder Rin watched the reports from his office on the Council Capital. He had argued against sending the fleet. He had warned the Council that humanity could not be defeated by force. Now he felt something he had not expected to feel: curiosity. He made a decision that would change his life forever. Without telling anyone, he boarded a small ship and flew alone to Earth. The human vessels detected him immediately. Weapons locked onto his ship, and voices demanded his identification. But when he explained who he was and why he had come, the weapons powered down. A message arrived, inviting him to dock with the sunlight. Hana met him in an observation room that overlooked Earth. Through the massive windows, Rin could see the planet below. Already, patches of green were appearing where the processors had cleaned the soil. Water was flowing in ancient riverbeds. The dead world was slowly coming back to life. 2 human engineers worked at consoles nearby. Rin learned their names were Day and Yuna. They were directing thousands of workers on the surface, coordinating the reconstruction of a city that had been destroyed 40,000 years ago. "Why did you come here?" Hana asked. Her voice was neither friendly nor hostile, simply curious. Rin looked at her for a long moment. "I came to understand. The Council expected you to attack. Every species in the galaxy expected you to seek revenge. Instead, you came here and started planting trees. I need to know why." Hana walked to the window and looked down at Earth. Her reflection was visible in the glass. A ghost floating over the wounded planet. "Before the war, we asked ourselves a question," she said. "What kind of species do we want to be?" We were young and proud. We believed we could do anything, so we built weapons that could crack planets. We created machines that could think and fight without mercy. We answered the question with power and violence. She turned to face Rin. Then we destroyed ourselves. Not because we were attacked by enemies, not because of disease or natural disaster. We destroyed ourselves because we forgot how to be human. We forgot kindness. We forgot compassion. We forgot that strength is not the same as goodness." Rin nodded slowly. "And now, after 40,000 years of sleep, you have woken up to find that the galaxy hates you, that they celebrated your deaths, that they teach their children you were monsters. How can you not want revenge? 40,000 years is a long time to sleep," Hana said. Long enough to dream. The cryogenic pods keep our bodies alive, but our minds are not completely silent. We dream, Elder Rin. We dream of everything we lost, everything we did wrong, every mistake that led to our destruction. She walked closer to him, and her eyes were filled with a sadness so deep it seemed bottomless. I dreamed of my family for 40,000 years. My mother, my father, my little brother, who was 12 years old when the bombs fell. I dreamed of holding them, of saying goodbye, of watching them turn to ash. I woke up with their faces still burned into my memory. I am sorry, Rin whispered. Do not be sorry. Be grateful. Because those dreams taught me something important. Revenge would not bring them back. Destroying your worlds would not heal my pain. It would only create more people like me. More orphans, more ghosts, more dreamers haunted by the faces of the dead. She took something from her pocket and held it out to Rin. A small data crystal, no bigger than his thumb. This contains everything we developed during our long sleep. Medical technology that can cure diseases your doctors have never seen. Agricultural systems that can grow food in poisoned soil. Energy generators that produce power without pollution. 40,000 years of innovation, dreamed into existence by 2 million sleeping minds. Rin took the crystal with trembling hands. You are giving this to us? After everything we did? The galaxy let us die, Hana said. But we will not return the favor. This is our answer to the question we asked so long ago. This is what kind of species we choose to be. Rin stayed on Earth for 3 days. He watched the humans work with endless energy and patience. He saw Day and Yuna directing the construction of buildings designed to withstand any disaster. He met children who had been born on the sunlight during the long journey, young humans who had never known any home but a ship floating through darkness. When he finally left, his ship carried the data crystal and a message for the Galactic Council. He delivered the message personally. Standing before the assembled leaders of 12 species, he told them what he had seen. He showed them the technology the humans had shared. He explained what Hana had said about dreams and revenge, and the choice to be better. The council did not know how to respond. Some called it a trick. Others demanded proof. A few simply sat in stunned silence. But in the months that followed, the human technology proved real. Diseases were cured. Famines ended. Worlds that had struggled for centuries suddenly flourished. And slowly, the galaxy began to understand something terrible. The humans had not forgiven them because they were weak. They had forgiven them because they were strong. Strong enough to look at 40,000 years of betrayal and hatred and choose to respond with kindness. And that was more frightening than any weapon, because weapons could be fought, armies could be defeated. But mercy, could not be destroyed. It could not be forgotten. It spread from world to world, changing hearts and minds, making species question everything they had believed about humanity. On Earth, the reconstruction continued. Cities rose from the ashes. Forests grew where wastelands had been. Children played in parks under a blue sky that had not been seen in 40,000 years. Humanity had returned. And they had chosen to be better than their past. Better than their enemies. Better than anyone had expected. That was the last human signal. Not a threat, not a warning, a promise. We remember everything. And we forgive anyway. The galaxy would never be the same.